Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together.
Yeah.
Alright, we are still in the imaginary grotto and a door has appeared.
Aye, a tall, imposing thing carved out of sandy stone in sandy stone. Is this what I was meant by knowing when they're here?
Except for the door didn't really make any noise, so...
Slowly, it swings open, welcoming us through. Oh, the imposing sandy thing. So I thought in the last episode they were suddenly like a statue? Because those two things seemed wildly separate from each other?
Yeah.
They're the same. I'm like, it's the door.
The door is the imposing thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Okay.
That's
Slowly,
okay.
it swings open, welcoming us through. Because it really did seem like a very
Here's
weird
a question.
shift.
No, it did. Describing something else, it's not.
Yeah.
It's describing the door.
That was
We've already seen the door in detail, and then we're going to describe it as a thing, abstractly.
Yeah, that's a strange choice.
What's interesting is welcoming us through. Why isn't letting someone in to you instead of taking you out to them? But also, you guys got to walk through the water to do this.
It's fine.
Looks like it is time. On your guard, Corazon. We don't know what will be on the other side. I mean, if Asra made the door...
Humpst.
Who?
Humpst.
Not what, who?
Not whumpst.
Looks at your courtiers. What are you?
Courtiers. I'm offended is what I am.
I don't know what will be over there.
Would you tell you I'm offended? Cautiously, we step through the door to... What? 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 We just said that they were going to come here! Not...
I know, and then the door opens invitingly, and we don't know who we're going to go to. And I'm like, how do you know you're supposed to go through the door instead of have
Asra
someone
said,
come to you?
I will bring you them here.
Uh-huh.
What is...
And then suddenly we're leaving. But it's okay, because you know what? We stand up from sitting on the beach with toes in the water.
Yeah, we totally do.
And then we walk through the water to this door up to our waists. And then we lean into the base of the door and climb up into it.
Here, I'll lift you. I'll lift you up, Nadia. Get on my knee.
I'll say the romantic scene is where Nadia gets a boost from the MC.
Yep.
And then pulls them soggily out of the water, but sexily so.
Yes.
And then you both...
it's spirit water, so it goes away quickly, except all you are is spirit, so you're just drenched.
You gently...
You're a mop.
Flop like a fish into whatever is beyond the door.
And Nadia, of course, because she has much clearer control than you do, looks fantastic and dry, and you're just like...
I am damp, and
moist.
I'm auditioning for a sparkly fabric t-shirt contest.
That's exactly what you're doing. Step through the door together. I don't understand this. You guys have changed your mind like 6 times. Okay. My vision swims for a moment, and then settles into a familiar view.
So what we're saying is that Asra and Nadia understand each other so well over such little time reconnecting that when she says, bring them to us, whoever you can, and he goes, sure thing, will do, and then he opens a door for you to go somewhere else, you just know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she knows what's going on. We have no idea.
She knows.
Yeah.
She knows.
It settles into a familiar view.
The Colosseum. Why are we here?
I thought we were here to see a courtier.
What is going to be on the other side of the door? Oh, a courtier.
A courtier. I shake my head, looking around at the scenery. Like, let's find out, Nadia, since we clearly decided not to talk about it.
And since we also didn't wait for Astra to give us any direction, we just went, oh, no, we'll go through it.
We didn't agree on any terms or idea. No, it's fine. It
We saw a
certainly
potion.
looks like the Colosseum, but...
We saw a cookie, it said, eat me, we just ate it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what we've done. It feels wrong. Different, somehow. Perhaps... like a fake Colosseum.
Since
a spiritual Colosseum. There's blood spattered across the sand. The smell of iron hangs heavy in the air. But it's silent.
Look deep inside. Seek out your spiritual Colosseum.
I need my own spirit Colosseum. Can you imagine somebody going like, where the hell are we? Why would you think of this? Also, I have to say, for me, what I'm instantly getting, but that's just because I know the other courtiers, is this is Volgora. Because Volgora is the fighty one.
The claws one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one who just, I'd be violent. But it's silent. No one is here.
Except the blood.
Except the blood. Blood without people.
Interesting. This place feels so empty.
Did it ever feel full?
I mean,
I'm sorry, ma'am. How many memories do you actually have to remember the Colosseum at all?
My dear Nadia, 1, as far as we know, you have 2 memories of Colosseum right now. The first one being full on trial day, where you were tried, and the second one being completely empty when you went and saw Julian by yourself.
Yeah.
Both on the same day.
Yeah.
And so you have seen it completely full and completely empty on one day and have 2 memories of it only.
Yeah.
And
I suppose this is establishing that actually at some point she's seen it when it's been completely full. We don't know exactly when, and for how long, and then under what context.
Well, the thing is what she's saying not is that it is empty, but that it feels empty.
All right, yes. It's true. More than the abandoned structure has ever felt. But, what?
Because you've been to it once, empty as well.
Empty is...
so
empty and full.
I was going to say, more than the one time I've ever felt it empty, it feels empty.
Had ever felt the supernatural emptiness, as if we're stepping into a void.
1 point of data.
I have 1 point of data, it is true.
This is different than that point of data.
Perfect. I cannot even hear my own footsteps as we stroll out onto the sand.
The bloody sand?
The bloody sand?
As we step...
The sand that absorbs noise, as it's wont to do, because that's how sand works when it's dry.
Actually, it works more like that when it's a little damp.
Oh. Well, if it's bloody sand, it works pretty well.
I was going to say, you can slap against it when it's wet, but the thing is like, it makes a sort of shushing sound when it's dry. So you need, like, moist but not wet sand for it to be really quiet, based on my experience with sand.
Okay, well, that's fair.
So the moistening of the blood... So we walk through bloody sand, the bloody sand gently sticking to our shoes or feet, and, silently, as we silently trek through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
As they stroll out onto the sand.
We're not walking out there, we're strolling. Like a Sunday social, with a parasol. Volgora?
Aye.
Well, what do we have here?
I recoil in disgust at the creature reclining in the judge's box. My eyes can't understand what I'm seeing. Not really.
A creature? Huh.
It seems boneless somehow. Oh, I know who it is.
Oh.
That's...
that's Festival, isn't
Like
it?
the milky flesh is melting into the space it fills.
Interesting.
It lurches its great body forward, unnaturally long neck stretching out towards us.
Where?
No. When it moves, its pale flesh undulates, jiggling like barely contained jelly.
We're saying it's a slime.
Hello.
It's a slime.
It's alive.
It's a slime.
It's alive.
It sounds like a slime. Oh, it is. It is them.
It is.
That's
the
really wild looking. I don't know if I get barely contained jello from it, but it's really interesting looking.
Yeah.
The little twirly tentacle arms are just like, whoo.
I love the ones in the face, like, oh, I will twirl on myself a hood. Hello?
Well, and the ones
I'm very polite, woo.
The ones coming from under the armpits of the others are also doing the same thing. Whoo.
Everything's very,
it's
very prim, sort of insecure. I hold to myself.
It's a very closed posture as things go, but also it's very like prim, but also a little delicate, and it's a little uncertain of posture. Going, I don't have any committed actions here. They're all in process, but they're also gripping and holding themselves. And again, I'm bent back from the viewer and also curling in on myself a bit, so it's not a strong, like, confident posture.
Yeah, sorry, I instantly went, oh, worm. That's Blastimel.
I was like, it's not a worm, though.
Yeah, that's not worm. But
that's okay. I wonder how far it goes down. Why have you dragged me here so rudely? I'm a busy praetor. Nadia, I have so much worm business to attend to. My little princess needs coddling. If anyone hasn't seen, I drew a fan art of lovely Blastimel holding a baby worm named Princess.
Yes,
it was cute.
That's just how that works. A single writhing worm falls out of its mouth when it speaks, landing on the dirt at our feet.
The bloody dirt?
The blood dirt?
I'm looking
worm. I'm so
excited! So what I'm looking for here is, if the blood is supposed to be shocking and ominous and a marker of this being a bad or dangerous place, we should keep mentioning it.
Yes, it is a consistent, lingering presence.
By the way, you're standing in blood, you're walking over blood, you're stepping around blood.
Right.
How
does your character feel about that? How does Nadia feel about walking on blood?
When you walk through the sand, do you step around the spatters of blood, or do you just stroll straight through them?
Without a care in the world. I'm a holly jolly day with Nadia.
That's what I said. You sound like a stroll in the park. let's take a lovely stroll today.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Landing on the dirt at our feet.
Vlastimil. Yes, that is I. What do you want?
Another one. Spits out.
What do you what? Oh yeah, my babies.
Oh no, come back to me then. We both stumbled back away from the unfathomable thing. I'm not going to stumble because I still don't see myself as stumbling much. There's definitely a step back.
If it felt unnaturally empty and uncomfortable walking in here, but we strolled in, we can step back.
We can step. It's okay. I could take a healthy step. It's all right. I swallow my nausea down. I apparently have nausea. Good to know.
You gained supernaturally imposed nausea.
Staring in determination. I have saved. At a pillar just behind his wriggling head.
Okay, so at one point I was writing a short fic in school, and I say this like in college, in my creative writing class.
Right.
And I only had to write like a like basically a chapter thing of an idea for Beauty and the Beast. Okay, and the Beast was basically supposed to be this disgusting monstrosity, like not a cute furry, like werewolf
Disney,
cat boyfriend.
Yeah.
Instead, he was basically this sort of like a monstrous sort of pustule, boiling horror of flesh, right?
Right.
Like completely undesirable in all sensory ways. Sounded terrible, looked terrible, smelled terrible, like it would be terrible to touch, all of it, right?
Yes.
Putrid.
Yeah.
So the heroine, Beauty, as it was, when she was, attending dinner with him, very carefully and pointedly focused on a tile next to his feet when speaking to him.
Aww. Be like, I'm gonna vom, I'm a vom.
And she was just trying not to vom and quietly hold a conversation. And he was trying desperately to be polite because he knew how gross he was. And it was kind of fun. And instead of him being an asshole, he really was just really undesirable in all physical ways.
Aww.
Anyway.
I always sensed that there was something wrong with the Brittle, but this...
And see, so
Okay, so I have to say, canonically, since it never actually came up within the story itself, I highly doubt that, MC. I always sensed there was something wrong. Since you've never brought it up in this route,
and in
the answer is no, actually. No. So we're in this character's head from a first-person perspective, and one of the things you have to keep in mind is that unless it's stated...
Unless you talk to yourself about it in your own head, you don't think that.
Right.
Yes.
That's not... So there's not, like...
You seem to think
the thing that also, kills me is there hasn't really been any behavioral changes. Like, you can have a character that doesn't obviously go, ooh, God, in my own head I'm disgusted by this person, right? Mm-hmm. You can have a physiological response, though, that the character basically lets the reader know about. Mm-hmm. So that you know that they're disgusted. So that's a way to basically get around it. Because obviously you're not sitting there talking to yourself usually, like verbalizing in that kind of degree. So it would make, that's one thing that's bothered me so much about the writing here, though, where it's like, this thing I've been super suspicious. You're like, have you, though?
Well, and what I was going to say is, when they describe the Vlastimil creature, they're like, it's jiggly and gelatinous and gooey and stuff like that. But it doesn't say, I feel disgusted.
Yeah.
So those things are assumed to disgust the reader. But
which sounds like slug hate here, and worm hate, and I resent that.
Yeah, honestly, one of our friends is a goo, so you know.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like it.
So I don't find those things inherently disgusting.
Yeah, that's the thing, too, that also some people talk about, actually, when you try to get into, quote, negative traits, you run a really strong risk of sounding basically abled in some way.
Or biased, for sure. Very biased. Now, the thing is, if it had been established that the character finds those things to be disgusting, then you don't need to keep saying it. As you get to know the character, you could go, oh, we're seeing those things, so we know we feel disgusted.
Right. Well, and like I said, you don't need to state them. You can literally just have the character respond. You can have an establishing shot, and then the character
I swallow my nausea! But you didn't talk about rising nausea, you needed to swallow.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
All right.
I always sense there's something wrong.
But this?
This thing is not human. I don't know what it is. I never thought about the ears, I didn't think about the teeth, I didn't think anything about the eyes. No. But you know, I always knew there was something wrong.
Yes.
What are you?
I love that. Just this question. What are you? I have nothing else. What are you? Oh, what a rude question. You can't just ask someone what they are.
Oh my God, you can't just ask somebody if they're white.
I had to do it. You can't just ask someone what they are.
are.
What are I, indeed? What are I? I love that.
Honestly, it's fantastic.
You have always known, haven't you? Those nasty, beady little eyes looking right through me. In my own home. Of all places. You can't judge someone in their own home.
Well, again, so as I said, is the physical appearance actually like...
Can other people see it? And
Because I say that if that's normal, technically speaking, within the world itself, and nobody reacts to it, your character wouldn't have any reason to react to it either. So your player having a response and your character having a very different one, you basically have a division of interest here. Going like, were we supposed to then take note of exotic, weird, quote, looks that you get?
On the other hand, we don't see very many people.
We really don't!
So, if you look at the total number of people that you see in the route, you see nearly as many weird-looking ones because of the number of courtiers.
Weird, quote.
I say weird in big quotes. Less common-looking ones.
Mm-hmm.
You see 4 or 5 of them, and you really only see like 8 or 9 other people. So,
You
if
don't even
count
see that.
all the sisters.
So, that's true. But again, like, that's in such a large percentage, you'd be like, I guess this is normal? But the thing is also, too, is that you're basically playing into the trope of the evil, basically, aristocratic, monstrous, like, class kind of thing. Which is fine, and a good trope, but I'm also like, but your character doesn't really react to it at all much.
No.
Like, in both routes that we've played so far, it really is just like they have this assumption, and I'm like, but as far as I could tell, there's such a high percentage of these guys, and nobody else reacts to what they look like. Even Nadia, who supposedly has been around them the most, except we have no idea how much she actually remembers.
I feel they're suspicious. Not they looks weird,
right? And
they look like four of them look like a matched set.
And also goes, hey, have you ever thought about, like, you wonder if they file those teeth? Like, there's no question of, like, culture and I'm not saying, I don't know how to interact with it.
Anyway, I feel like it'd be a really important thing to know if they actually look like that canonically, or if it's a magical thing that we can see. And if it's only magical thing only we can see, why don't we react to it even if we don't understand it's magical at all? Because they're the only people we've ever seen that look like that.
That's fine.
My own home? Do I need to spell it out for you?
Spell out what?
You are an Arcana? That sounds insane. But the answer is, I don't know if you need to spell it out to me, or you are an Arcana. Because the question is, do I need to spell it out for you? And if you say, I don't know, that doesn't say, I don't know what you are. It says, I don't know if you need to spell it out for me.
At least I think. I'm not even sure what I don't know almost seems sort of like not a really, like, direct answer.
It's one of these things that's happened to me a lot. When someone, occasionally, when someone in my life is being really passive-aggressive and sort of bitchy, and they do this sort of, I will try to triage their problem if we have to keep interacting and we can't leave each other's presence for reasons. And sometimes it's, do you feel like fill in the blank? Or, do you know this thing? And if I say, do you know how you feel? And they say, I don't know. Then I say, okay, so you don't know how you feel. And then they go, no. And I'm like, okay, do you know if you want this thing? I don't know. Or, you know what you want. I don't know. Okay, so you don't know what you want. No. Like, it's a petulant way to answer a question.
That's fair. I'm also really confused here because I'm kind of like, so I'm trying not to metagame here, and so I'm trying to go from the character's perspective, but we've had so little information magically, and also again in the character's head of going, what does an Arcana feel like? What is an Arcana magically, spiritually, physically?
I don't think Corazon or the MC would know that.
Yeah, well, and I also go, I don't know either. Because it's not...
It's either sidestepping the question or it's answering the question very poorly.
Yes, and I'm not...
You've always known, haven't you? I don't know if I've always known.
I really have very little idea as to how to, respond to this, because I also don't even really understand the responses very well.
Say, the only other way I can take it, and it's probably meant more this way, because this is how I usually counter it, and I didn't get very good examples, but I've met them for sure.
I believe you.
But
I know I've run into it. It's so fucking annoying.
But it's this thing, I think what they're saying is, you know what I am. And you say,
I don't know. Yeah.
But the way they phrase it, you're saying, I don't know if I know.
Right?
So, yeah. I think it's just going, no, I don't know.
And the other one is, you're an Arcana.
Yes,
I'm asserting what I think you are, and the other one is... So, I honestly don't know... I don't know how to respond to this.
Right. I feel like, of the two options, Corazon would have to just firmly say, I don't know. Because I could speculate you may be an Arcana, but Corazon doesn't really speculate. Corazon chooses.
Yes.
Corazon doesn't really go, well, you may be such thing. In the case of one thing, you might believe in your own strength as a strong man. You might put the poison in your own goblet. But in the case of a smart man, you'd put the poison as far away from you as possible and put it in my goblet.
Question for you. Why do you have the poison to begin with?
Thank you. Corazon is decisive. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what you are.
Yes.
You are okay, so we were correct. It's the most simple, and then sometimes it's really goddamn complex, and you're like, where the hell did you come from?
Yes. Thankfully, in this time, I did understand it.
I don't know what you are. A creaky, wet sound rumbles from Vlastimir's throat in response, and I realize he's laughing.
How do you creak and be squishy?
I don't know.
I'm curious. Sounds
I would love to
interesting.
know, too.
No, you wouldn't. Would you, ignorant little peon? How could you? I wish to have
I was about to say...
a princess to pet and comfort me.
I was about to say that, like, in some ways that sounds a little arrogant for Vlastimil, doesn't it?
It really does. This sounds very different. It also sounds like Vlastimil.
I mean, it could be that Vlastimil's like, I feel more in my element, so honestly, what I really am is I'm a shit, but now that I go, oh, you don't have any power over me, you know, I feel unreasonably more confident.
What I think is interesting is that Vlastimil appeared here, and apparently was expecting to see us, and also knows what he looks like.
Yes.
And so going, okay, so you behave moderately differently in this form because you have nothing to hide, but why?
Right.
Why were you you didn't seem like you were trying to hide anything in the first place.
Because you
really were just like, worms, actually. Which isn't a normal person thing at all.
But again, because we really don't know very many other people, how do we know that it's not normal?
Only because of the
nobody
ones
else
we've met.
seems to fucking care! Except Nadia going, oh my god, vaguely worms! Except that, like, there's no question of, God, why are there so many fucking worms? It's just, there are worms!
I love the random fingernails coming out of other parts of the fingers.
Isn't it fun?
It's
the
neat.
casual soft body horror is fun. I wish it was a little bit more extreme, but that's me.
I say it's a neat design.
Yes.
Would you? How could you?
He runs one twisted hand over his own body, slime trailing down the path he makes.
Ooh.
That sounds like you're trying to seduce me. I've got to tell you.
Sensuously, he pets himself in front of me.
Yes.
All the way down.
This is not horny, just so you know.
Hi. No, I don't find you hot. Oh, but you could. I am beautiful. I am immortal.
When did you care about being attractive?
Ever.
I'm not saying
wait. Worms are beautiful. I keep saying worms are beautiful.
Right.
So
right.
if
I'm a worm,
I'm beautiful.
Yes.
But you shouldn't have hands. Worms don't have hands, dear.
Worms! They don't have hands!
Rubs hand down self. Except for this one problematic feature. I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful. I mean, you've also got a face.
Shh, quiet. I can't see it, so I'm still beautiful.
Are you sure you can't?
Worms have faces. They're beautiful.
Yeah, they don't have eyes like yours.
Yes, dude, you have a nose.
You have a nose. You have earrings.
You have goo eyebrows. Goo brows.
Okay, so I actually think it's really interesting. So in regards to character design, people have actually discussed it in reference to, so I'll bring up the Blade series.
Okay.
So in the first movie, you can actually find it in the, like, director's information, where they actually talk about what happened when they originally screened a prior version of the Blade movie to a crowd. And they were like, as soon as basically our main antagonist, became basically a faceless blob monster, everybody stopped caring. They were like, there was actually a marked lack of interest, and it's actually a trait that people have been able to follow over time of going, people are very people-centric. And the second you go, it's a monster, and it loses basically all sense of people, like...
When it doesn't have any visual anthropomorphization.
Yes. People care less.
Yes.
Like, so much, and you actually lose a lot of engagement. So they actually had to go back, specifically with Frost, you know, and spoilers for, like, a fucking 20-plus-year-old movie. Good lord.
And make his monster look humanoid.
Yeah, and just keep him as himself, basically. And it was really interesting, because that you can actually, if you watch then a lot of media, you can actually see, like here with Vlastibil, because I'm like, why wouldn't you just make him more worm? Is because otherwise you would have no connection really to this character. And also, again, in the rule of like cartooning, you'd be like, who is this character? I have no connection to them.
The emotional connection isn't there.
Yeah.
Sort of like if you go way back to the movie The Blob, which is classic horror, and it really is just this like slime running over everything. It doesn't really have a personality so much as it just eats the world, that it is terrifying if you're scared of that sort of thing. And the people in there are certainly terrified, but like it's not personified. You're not afraid of it.
It's not a personal thing.
You're not afraid of it in the way you're afraid of a person. You're not offended, you're not hurt, you're just, it's a force. I'm afraid of it like I'm afraid of a hurricane, which means I don't have any emotional connection to it, I just want to get away.
Right, and it gives you a different kind of fear, rather than usually where a lot of people are trying to go is make it very personal.
You don't want to fight a hurricane, you just want it to be done and go away. So you don't want to fight the blob, you just want it to be done and go away. And so they want you to find, you need something relatable to fight.
Yes.
Yes. Immortal. I am demon. Are you all demon? I demon. I just feel like it's a book. I demon.
I demon.
It's like I Mordred, or yes. I am legend. I am demon. All right. Demon.
Nadia's eyes seek mine. She raises a single eyebrow, as if to ask what a demon is supposed to be.
Love that word. Want to describe it for me? Want to pull out your dictionary? Hang on, I'll get my lexicon.
That kind of reminds me sometimes where people are like, this is my species, they can look like anything, they can be any number of things. And you're like, hang on then, honey, that's what is then this thing?
What is
it has literally no defining characteristic
other than
at all?
The name you gave it.
Other than, this is our demon. Well, it's this thing. Okay.
And this thing. And this thing. Unless it's this thing. And under these circumstances, it's this other thing.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but going, okay, but what is it? Like, okay, so at one point I was investigating what it takes to patent something, because a lot of people are obsessed with the idea of you can patent something and get rich, right?
Right.
And so I was investigating what the hell it takes, because people keep talking to me about this thing over my life. Because when you're poor, more people are interested in get-rich-quick schemes, right?
And that's why they also tend to get taken advantage of.
There's that
more
too.
Often.
At any rate, one of the patent lawyers I spoke to, who did a free lawyer hour, which was really cool because I couldn't afford anything, talked to me about how if you innovate something from the base of something else, it doesn't really count as something new. If a tripod is described as something with 3 legs that supports something mounted on top of it, and that's a tripod, then if you add a 4th leg, it's just a 4-legged tripod. If you add 10 legs, you're just expanding on tripod. And so he's like, so it's not a new invention, it's an expansion on that thing.
Right.
And he's like, and technically, if you pare it down and you get a single stick and shove it into the ground, it's a pole, but it's a monopod. And so he's like, it's already been done.
Yeah.
You just have to, it's it now. If you create a thing that sits on it that no one's ever made before, then you can patent that. But the thing is it's like, so if you have your species demon, it has to have a description, like it has 3 legs and holds something on top.
Right.
It has to have some sort of a legal description of what it is.
Right. And actually, though, I like this, I was going to say, because Nadia finally now is looking to us for an answer. Because remember how I kept going, why does Nadia act like she knows everything about magic? And we keep going,
I am a what? I'm sorry, I'm a magician, but I don't do anything. I'm just here and I look pretty and I wear your clothes. How you doing?
I am baby and she can show me off.
Yay.
Oh, and I'm hot when she does that. But then I am baby.
And then I'm baby.
Alright, transforms to powerful, imposing self whenever you go to speak. Turns back into chibi version of self with a little blank face when doesn't.
Damn, ask what a demon is supposed to be. I rack my brain, trying to think of where I've heard that word before.
I love it. This word doesn't even exist in our vocabulary. Asra, you failed us.
Asra, I was trying to hide things from you. Shit.
Excuse me.
It must have been in one of Asra.
Yes.
It's in his book, though! It wasn't a thing that Asra actually talked to us about or discussed in any great capacity. Hello, I am an Arcana wizard. I actually spend a lot of time doing, basically a lot of interactions with the Arcana in realms, and it's beautiful and magnificent, and I need to tell you about the dangers and the wonders, but you know what? You are such a baby! I refuse to tell you anything, and instead I'm going to go that way out the door. Bye!
So, what you need to know, based on now playing nearly 2 routes, because we're getting close to the end of this one, is that, Asra only teaches when he's feeling profoundly inspired. And while the MC is completely incurious in all of the routes, just again extrapolating from 2 points of data, and they don't ask a lot of questions, and they don't pursue a lot of leads, they don't collect evidence, and they don't
Despite the fact that this is their job.
and they don't form theories, they, when they were with Asra, were so fascinated by his world that they absorbed everything like a sponge that he ever said, and dug into everything he owned and read it, and also filled themselves up like a dragon hoarding treasure. So they've read all of his books, listened to every word he would ever spill out, and they just
Took it at complete face value.
Right, and after leaving the shop with Nadia, never treated anyone that way ever again, because their obsession with knowing everything Asra has ever known is limited to Asra. Not knowing in general. Only I am fascinated because you are fascinated. There is, as you've sort of designed Corazon with daddy issues, there is a sort of fixation on the daddy, if you will, the person who did bring you back and raise you.
Pretty much. Asra's books.
And it's interesting that it really does support itself in that way by describing this character both times as having learned everything from Asra, even in passing. We were completely fixated on him as basically a sort of god in our life, of going, everything you say is so precious, I'll memorize all of it. Yeah. Everything you own is so precious, I'll investigate all of it.
Demons. I think they're humans bound to the devil. That's supposed to be probably capital D. Power.
Devil's
power. But we're going to have to find out more about their power.
Lowercase devil.
Lowercase devil.
Who's the lowercase devil?
In the next one!
Hey! So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, interact with the video. It actually does a lot for us in regards to YouTube algorithm. Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi, Patreon, and our Twitch. We have some links in the description down below. We would love to see you at any of those locations. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies. And it was great playing with you. Bye!